Hi, this is Jim Connell. I'm here with Travis Clark, and we're going to do an interview. He's a college student. He's going to tell you a little bit about where he's going to school and what he's up to and some of his career aspirations. And before we get started, I do want to say to all college age students, kids out there, do what Travis did. He cold called me. I live in the same town that he does. I know his parents a little bit, very nice people. And he just reached out to me after looking me up on LinkedIn and said, hey, I want to connect with you. We had a phone call, which led to this interview. I was really impressed with Travis. And I just said, hey, let's do an interview and we'll put it on my LinkedIn and you can share it and tell people your story. So without further ado, Travis Clark is here, and thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, what school are you going to and what year are you in?
Yeah, so I go to Indiana University in Bloomington. I'm a sophomore here. I'm studying marketing and professional sales with a minor in sports marketing and management.
Excellent, excellent. And why did you choose IU?
I chose IU for a multitude of reasons. The first being it's close to home. And that was very important to me, to be close to home, to be able to go home if I wanted to or needed to. The second was because of the business school, the Kelley School of Business. It's had a great reputation throughout the years. And they provide a lot of good connections and resources that I'm able to use throughout my years here and beyond after my years here. And then I'm also a sports guy. I love watching. I played sports in high school, and I wanted to go to college with that school spirit, that sports presence, and IU definitely has that with basketball and football. So.
Yeah, it's the full package, isn't it? I mean, with basketball, football, obviously, and the Kelley School. I've heard such great things about it. What sparked your interest in marketing, Travis?
Yeah, so when I was applying to colleges and picking like your first major, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do business, but I'm not sure what sector. And then throughout my freshman year, I did some research and took some classes. And the thing I like about marketing is how it's always evolving and always changing to become something new. So as we've seen with social media and technology, companies are finding new ways to market their products and services. And it's so creative and so different than it was way back then that it's always, I like how it's always evolving and always coming up with some new creative ideas.
Yeah, it is. It's evolving for sure. You know, all the data science that's behind it as well. It's kind of an endlessly fascinating career track, really. I commend you for that. Do you have an internship lined up? And if so, if you don't, tell us a little bit about what you're specifically interested in doing. If you had, you blank check, you could do whatever you wanted to do this summer in an internship. So what do you got cooking there?
Yeah, so I don't have an internship yet. I'm looking for one this summer. I wanted something that's in the business world. I've always had these little high school jobs, which have been fun and good, but I want to do something that's a little more, it'll enhance my skills a little more. So something working with people who have had experience and just trying to enhance my skills, like I said, it doesn't have to be necessarily in marketing, but something, I would prefer marketing, but something that would just get me into the real business world so I can use the skills I've learned throughout my first 2 years in college and really apply them to real world scenarios.
Yeah, so do you have any target companies you're looking at, or would you like to be focused around Chicagoland since that's where we're at?
Yeah, not necessarily target companies, but like you said, the target area, I'd like to be in the Chicago area or even Chicago itself, somewhere closer to home. But yeah, not really any big target companies, just looking for more of the right fit is what I would say.
Okay, all right, great. So moving on to school a little bit, what class has surprised you the most that you maybe thought, man, this is not really my gig, but I really enjoyed it. And, what was it about that class that inspired you?
Yeah, so I would say the most surprising class has been a business presentations class. And that's because I took one of those classes in high school and I pretty much thought it'd be the same thing, pretty easy, just go up and talk and maybe get a few pointers. But I didn't realize how many little things go into a presentation that can make the presentation so much better. And our professor actually videotaped us on our first and last presentations and showed them to us. And it was like, we didn't even know how much better we got until we watched those videos. And the one thing I liked about that class is this kind of relates back to marketing is communication is so important in business and can either make or break a sale. And just seeing how important those little things are was just eye-opening for me when looking at the business world and how important that communication factors will be later on in my career.
That's awesome. Are you familiar at all with a woman by the name of Nancy Duarte? Duarte?
I'm not.
I would, and I can email you this later on, but I would look her up. She has a company in Silicon Valley, and she's got some terrific books. I have a book for you. I'll drop it off at your house. It's about this topic exactly. She was the one who did help Steve Jobs with his presentations, as well as numerous other people. And she's very open on LinkedIn. She'll accept your invite, so and your connection. So just check her out. She's doing really wonderful work in that space, and I could not agree with you more that how critical that is. And that sounds like a really fun class. So what's your favorite class then? Was it this one or maybe another one?
I really like that class for sure, but I would say my favorite class was econ, and that can be surprising to some people because it's known for being a tough class here. But the one thing I liked about econ is how applicable it was to our daily life. We've heard from students a lot that like, or my friends and classmates that when am I ever going to use this in the real world, or when is this trigonometry going to help me like later on in life? And econ something that was relatable in our daily lives, even as college students. And our professor would bring in articles that day if he saw something on New York Times or Fox News or CNN that would relate to what we're learning about, whether it's tariffs or supply and demand or something like that. And he would show us like, this is real. This is what we're doing. Like this stuff can help you later on in life, and it can help you learn more about the business world and the government and stuff.
That's great. Sounds like you had a good instructor too.
Yeah, no, he was great.
That's awesome. So if, again, going kind of back to if you could write your own ticket, you're learning about the landscape of the business world out there. It's obviously you're very engaged. So are there dream companies that you have on your radar? Like, Jim, I would love to do marketing for Nike, or maybe that's random, but what are some of the dream companies for you?
No, you were spot on with that Nike thing. As I said, I'm a sports guy, and playing sports beyond high school wasn't an option. So I would love to get in, whether it's Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, and kind of work from there and market to athletes, to consumers like me, college kids. But if that wasn't an option, working with like the teams or player side, I've kind of found like being an agent would be pretty cool, or being whether that's like with players or other people. But on the team side, maybe it's ticket sales or working within the business side of sports, because as we know, the NFL, the NBA, MLB, they're businesses. So making sure that's important is just as important as the players in the field. So
that's great. You know what I love about those companies, Adidas and all that, is there's a fashion side to this whole thing, which is, it's kind of crazy to think about, but it's pretty obvious. But there's a whole fashion side. I'm a wannabe sneakerhead. I love shoes. I love, I grew up with Air Jordans. I've purchased some fairly expensive shoes in my day. And I just love the design aspect of it. There's a really cool, if you like that, by the way, here's another reference for you. There's a great video series on Netflix called Abstract. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it though.
Well, what's that guy's name at Nike? Is it Tinker? I think it's Tinker. Anyway, he's like the main designer.
Okay.
Of shoes. They do a piece on him, and it's fascinating. And then they break down other artists, and it's kind of got a marketing bent to it, in my humble opinion, because anything creative, like you were saying earlier, it's very creative based. But check out Abstract too.
I will.
So what kind of advice would you have now that you're a sophomore? You've done a great job in school so far. Looking back now, if you could give some advice to, say, juniors or seniors in high school, given what you know now, what would that advice be? And it could be anything from how to stay focused or how to get through class or anything like that. What goes through your mind when you want to impart some advice on the younger students?
Yeah. First, I would just say enjoy every moment. You're gonna have good times. You're gonna have tough times. It's college. It's gonna happen. But just enjoying every moment and embracing the college experience, because I'm already a year and a half through and it feels like I just started. So definitely embracing every moment would be huge. And then also staying focused on why you're there. You're paying a lot of money to be there. So you definitely want to stay on top of your academics, stay on top of your studies, make sure you're not falling behind, because there are definitely a lot of distractions in college that are so easy to get a part of and get taken away with. So definitely staying on top of your studies. And then also, I would say branch out of your comfort zone. This is something I kind of struggled with my freshman year, but I got better as the year went on, and definitely in sophomore year I've gotten better with it. But go join that club, join a fraternity, sorority, whatever you may think that you might have a fun time with or a good time with, just try it, because the worst thing happens is you don't like it and you try something else. And the best thing that could happen is you love it and you're a big part of it. So I would definitely say branch out and try new things, because that will be very helpful just beyond college. In the business world, you're gonna have to branch out and try things as well.
That's great. That's great advice. I mean, the whole comfort zone. I just really admired the fact that you reached out to me cold, and not because it was me, but just the move of reaching out. And I'm assuming you probably have done that with several people. Um, have you?
Yeah,
Have you
I've
done?
done with a couple more people. Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about that experience. Like, what kind of surprises did you have? Did it make you nervous reaching out to them at first? How did you get over that? And then tell me a story or an experience that you had speaking with someone that you really
Yeah.
just thought, man, I'm so glad I did that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So the first time I did that was my first semester in college, and it was actually required for a class. So we had to reach out to someone, talk to them, and understand like what they were, like their career path, kind of what I talked about with you and stuff. But I was super nervous. I was like trying to prepare everything, my questions like to the word, what I was gonna say. And as I got in the phone call, it kind of just became more natural and more like I calmed down a little bit. And I feel like that I took that to I've done that a couple times, one time with you. And I kind of just took that to my other meetings, like just stay calm, you're here to learn. They're not gonna like, there's nothing bad is really gonna happen. You're just gonna learn and you're just gonna learn. And so I talked to a couple guys from the greater Chicago area and a couple from not the Chicago area, and it's kind of interesting to see how different like the business or the world they live in is, but kind of how similar the things they do are within the business world. So I think it's very, very cool to see how the differences and similarities of people within the business world from different aspects of the world.
Got it. Have you done any of that travel stuff through school? Does that happen later, or is that something that interests you, or have you done something already in terms of traveling somewhere to study? I know it's kind of hard right now, but
right. Yeah, so that'll be my second semester junior year. So I'll start applying this next semester, and we find out I think first semester fall, and then that's when I'll study abroad for the semester junior year.
Okay, gotcha. Is there any place that you'd really love to go if it were all worked out?
I would love to go to Spain and around there, because I know Kelly has a great program up there and a lot of great classes that people tend to go to, and it's fun to go with your friends, and it's a great time if everyone can go there. So
have you ever been to Spain?
No, I've never been to Spain. I've been out of the country once to the Dominican Republic, and that was for a mission trip. So I haven't really traveled and seen that part of the world yet. So I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Well, we honeymooned in Spain, and I got to tell you, man, I want to go back. It was a long time ago, and I desperately want to go back. We were in the south of Spain, and we didn't go to Barcelona, and that's been on my bucket list for quite some time. I would love to revisit. So I wish you the best there, and I hope you get there and all this pandemic stuff, works itself out. Which leads me to my one of my last questions. Speaking of, COVID and all of that, obviously students have had a rough time in terms of a lot of e-learning, a lot of really modified class work or classroom stuff. I would imagine you can talk more to that. But how have you used this to an advantage? How have you really stayed healthy, both mentally and physically, and worked through this? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as you said, it's not ideal for college students, but it's really not ideal for anyone at this time. So it's kind of like have some perspective because it could be a lot worse. And I know at least here with my friends in college, we're trying to make the most of it. I'm all online for my classes, so I'm pretty much confined to my apartment during the day learning on my computer,
Okay.
which isn't great because I'd rather be with classmates, making relationships, professors. But we've definitely made the most of it with Zoom and office hours and stuff like that. So it's been tough, but it's getting better as time goes on. We're getting used to it, and hopefully next semester, probably not, but hopefully next year, we're kind of back to normal in class learning like we were last year. So, and as you mentioned with the healthy like mind and healthy physically, one thing I would recommend is getting on a schedule. At the beginning of the pandemic, I had a tough time with this. I was just kind of slacking off, getting lazy a little bit. But obviously, as school got on, you'll have your class schedule, which is important to follow. But also like eating, sleeping, working out, exercising. It's important to just stay on that schedule because it'll help you be so much more productive. It definitely helped me be more productive, and it helped me like stay mentally focused and just aware that I have stuff to do and get it done, and then you can have your fun when everything else is done. So that's something that the pandemic has definitely taught me, is just to have a schedule.
That's great. That's great advice for everybody. I mean, I think we're all guilty of, we're all going through the same thing, whether you're in college or you're working or what have you. It's really tough, and that discipline that you're talking about with the schedule can really make an impact. And it sounds like you really held it together well. And are you all on e-learning right now, Travis?
Yeah, so I'm all e-learning right now.
Okay.
Next semester I'll have a hybrid or maybe one or two hybrid classes, which means I'll be half in person, maybe like on a Monday and online on a Wednesday. So we'll kind of see where that goes. But as of now, I'm all on the computer.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to talk about before we wrap up? I just want to thank you very, very much for doing this, and I'll share this on LinkedIn. You can share it if you're inclined to do that. And let's stay plugged in. Let's continue to network. I've got a couple ideas right now that I'll follow up with you on in terms of connecting you with some people. But is there anything that you want to say as a kind of a wrap up?
I think we covered pretty much everything I had, but I just want to say thank you. This has been great. A lot of these things that I never thought I could talk about, maybe it'll help high schoolers looking at college or even college students. But yeah, it's been great talking, and I appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much, Travis. Enjoy the weekend. I'll download this. I'll spiff it up a little bit, I think, the best I can anyway. And I'll send you a text when I post this up. But if anybody is looking for marketing specifically, or pretty much anything on the business end, please reach out, comment on this post, reach out to Travis directly, reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect anybody. But I would really love to see Travis. I'd really love to see you get a great internship that you really could dig into a little bit and learn some things and start to, kind of like you said, sort of stack up those skill sets that are so important when you launch from senior year into the career, into the world of work. So best wishes with everything. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Bye-bye.
Bye.